You're listening to the Woman Who Chat podcast with me, your host, Sandra Garlick. A podcast where I chat to women in business who share their knowledge and top tips, especially for you. I also share my own tips to help you gain visibility fast so that you appear to be everywhere, even when you're not. I'm delighted to bring this podcast to you each week to inspire and motivate you to achieve. Enjoy the podcast. Woman Who Chat is sponsored by Grow Radio. Grow Radio is an online radio station dedicated to bringing you a different podcast on the hour, every hour. I'm proud that Woman Who Chat is played on Grow Radio every Tuesday at 3 p.m. and Friday at 8 a.m. and to be a part of their podcasting community. If you want to listen to the station, explore their shows, check out many of the blogs to improve your podcasting skills, or get your podcast onto Grow Radio, head over to growradio.uk today. Welcome to Woman Who Chat. In last week's episode, that's episode 132, if you're listening to this at any time in the future, I talked about the risks associated with brand and reputation. And this week, I wanted to highlight some of the benefits and how to boost your branding and reputation and grow your business, gain visibility, and here are my 10 tips for you. And some of these are from personal experience, and I am going to share some personal stories with you because I thought they might help on how I've grown my brand and my reputation over the years. And that's not to say that I haven't had some risks along the journey. You have to listen to the last episode to hear about those. But these 10 really should give you some idea on how to build your brand, your reputation. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've had any success with these, or let me know if you've got any ideas that are a little bit different. So tip 1 is own your story. I'm huge on storytelling, and I believe that your story is your superpower. Nobody else has got your story. It's unique to you. Nobody's had the same challenges, the same achievements, or the journey that you've had. So don't be frightened to share it, or the elements of it that you want to share. And I'll say once more, never share anything you wouldn't want to read on the front page of a newspaper, but share your story authentically and let people connect with the real you. I've been doing a lot of posts on socials recently about the real me. I am unique, you get it warts and all, and I share the highs and the lows because that's what life and business is. It's not a walk in the park all of the time. It's this huge roller coaster full of these amazing highs. Sometimes we trundle along just as if day to day, and then other times we hit phenomenal lows and we have to dig ourselves out. We have to dig deep. And I think sometimes when we reflect back on our story, we can actually celebrate those highs along the journey. And I'll come on to that a little bit later. But think of sharing what's happening behind the scenes, what struggles you've had, how you've overcome those struggles. And I always say there are no such thing as mistakes. I call them learning curves. And every setback, every negative, and I've had quite a few over the last few weeks. Yeah, I've fallen over twice, bruised myself badly. I've done the splits unintentionally, and I smashed my car. So things don't always happen. I'm hoping that's my 3. But things don't always go plain sailing. On the flip side of that, I had an amazing Solopreneur Awards. The celebration and the social media has been huge. And I've been selling like crazy for next year and sold over 200 tickets. But that's a podcast for another day. So it's about celebrating those achievements. I've got a formula that I use for my events and it's come to fruition. And it's about talking about that. It's about celebrating that. But behind the scenes, I've almost been absolutely on my knees this last week. And I've shared that too. My learning from that was take a break after you run a big event. So what's my number 2 tip? My number 2 tip is consistency. Now, whether it's your brand colors, your tone of voice, your brand voice, your values, being consistently using your own voice. And I see so many people copy other people's style of posts or use templates, or be you, be yourself. develop your own brand voice, because people will know when you start speaking to somebody at an event or you meet them networking and they start speaking, that is their brand voice. The conversations you have, that's their voice. So when you see them talk in a completely GPT voice or templated voice, it's not them. They're following a formula and it doesn't resonate. You switch off. And I find that I just speak from the heart. And the amazing Taruna Chauhan has taught me about my three brains in my heart, my head, and my stomach. And I go with all three, because if it doesn't feel right in my gut, then I don't post it. My head is telling me I've got to be careful of what I post, because it's very public and I want to celebrate it as it is. And my heart, I always speak from the heart. And that's the real me. That's the authentic me. So yeah, build up that consistency, and it builds that trust and recognition. People remember brands that are steady and familiar. Now, I always say come out from behind your logo and don't hide, put your face out there and everything. And I think the one exception to this is Apple, but they've been consistent with their branding. That Apple logo hasn't changed. Neither has the Apple message, their brand message that they put out there. So think about that. What is your brand message? I love to wear my lipstick, and I always put my lipstick on, even if I'm talking to you right now. It makes me feel great. It makes me feel complete. It moistens my lips so I don't get dry. But I tend to stick to the same colours because it makes me feel fabulous. I usually wear corals and reds because they make me feel good. They might look all right, but they make me feel good. So it's like your brand colours are like putting on your favourite colours, your favourite lipstick, your favourite perfume. Who else puts on perfume before they go on a Zoom? I did right through lockdown, and I've continued to do it because that ritual, that putting on my lipstick, putting on my perfume, as if I was going out, as if I was performing, make me consistent in my brand voice and everything I do. If I was to sit here in my onesie and my slippers, which I often do, I wouldn't be projecting the same voice as I would had I been putting on my lipstick and my perfume. So consistency, be consistent wherever you are, show up in a consistent way. Whether it's a good thing you're sharing or whether it's not so good, but still be consistent. My tip 3 is engage. Don't just simply say buy my stuff. And what I mean about engaging, instead of just sharing your content every day, because we all do that. We all go out with messages. Sometimes I put the same ones on LinkedIn and Facebook, or I might stagger them slightly, but we tend to share stuff. We ask people to buy our stuff, but we try and do it in a subtle way. Well, I do, at least. I don't go out there and say buy my stuff. And don't get me started on the inbox thing. If you want to know what it's all about, take a look at my LinkedIn posts, because this selling directly into my inbox straight after a connection really does blank me off. And it's something that I'm getting more and more frustrated by, and be more wary who I connect with now. But anyway, I digress. So engagement. What I do before I even share a piece of content on socials, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, and I only go on Instagram once a week, so apologies for that. But LinkedIn is my go-to place, and Facebook. They are my go-to places. And before I share anything, I engage. I scroll and I engage, and I follow the people I want to see their content. So whether that's following an individual or going onto LinkedIn and finding the little bell on the profile and following their content and setting it to all, because I want to see their content. As soon as I've connected with you on LinkedIn, I want to see your content. I don't want to see what you're selling. I want to learn about you. I want to build a relationship with you. I want to find out more about you. And that comes to the storytelling bit again. I want to follow your stories. I want to know what you're up to. We are inherently nosy, and so am I. So instead of just sharing content, engage with your audience. And if you put a post out there, and this frustrates me as well, this isn't supposed to be a ranty podcast. This is supposed to be giving you some top tips. But here's the thing. Here's a big tip for you. If you post something on LinkedIn and you ask a question, which I often do at the end of my posts, I ask people what they think and they comment. Is it right that I just ignore all those comments then and go on to the next day and my next post? No, it's not. If people engage with my posts, I go back and like what they've said, or I love what they've said, or I comment on what they've said. Now, I can't physically comment on every single reaction, but I try and engage as much as I can. If somebody has taken the trouble to comment on one of my social posts, I will do my utmost to comment back. And so many people don't do that. And it really does frustrate me. Why ask a question if you're not going to engage with it? So engaging is key. Reply to comments and generally build those relationships. Start those conversations. That's how they start. It's basically it's like the drop and go thing, isn't it? I run into the post office quite often to post things out to my clients, and I've got a drop and go account. And what that enables me to do is to prepay. I put all the addresses on, I give them my account number, but they know me now anyway. And I just literally drop it and say, there's my post for today. And they process it for me when I've gone. I don't have to queue, I don't have to do anything, which is great, but I'm not engaging with them. I'm not having a chat at the counter. I'm not getting to know them. They're not getting to know me. Yes, they do a great service because it's a service they provide, but I'm not building a relationship. When I used to queue at the counter and have a conversation with the postmaster, and we used to have a bit of a laugh, then that's where I engage. So sometimes I don't use my drop and go. I go and stand in the queue so I can have a conversation. And we do have conversations because they remember my dad going in every single day to get his paper. They remember my mum going in. So it's nice to have those conversations and build those relationships. So engage, don't just sell. I'm briefly interrupting this podcast. Did you know that speaking is one of the fastest ways to grow your audience? I create opportunities for you to find your story and share it on stage. If you're looking to gain experience as a speaker and deliver a keynote that wows the audience, join the Let's Get Visible Elevate Academy. Right now, you can join for just £25 a month for 12 months, or at a discounted price of £250 for lifetime membership. Yes, you heard that right. You will receive a lifetime of opportunities. Sign up at womanwho.co.uk/academy. Now back to the podcast. Number 4, don't be afraid to blow your own trumpet. If you want to build your brand and you want to build a reputation, you've got to tell people about the celebrations and the achievements along the way. It's not bragging. Celebrate your wins. I'm always going on about this with my awards and everything. It's celebrate your achievements. If you've done something, if you look at the posts on social media, if somebody's won an award, look at their engagement. Look at how many people are congratulating them and are happy for them, genuinely. You never see a negative post on somebody that's celebrating a win, ever. In fact, I've not seen one, unless you're on a platform and you get the occasional troll. But on my LinkedIn, with connections, on my Facebook, if I'm celebrating something, I've never had a negative post. I'll probably get one now, but it doesn't matter. I can deal with that. I'm big enough and old enough to deal with that. But celebrate your wins, share your achievements, your milestones, celebrations, how long you've been in business, because that's a huge achievement in itself. Celebrate your awards, celebrate just being you, celebrate your 30th birthday, your 40th birthday, 50, 60, 70, whatever it is, celebrate it. Share it. People will get to know you and they will genuinely want to celebrate what you've achieved. It's like a little victory dance, isn't it? I remember when I was at school, they used to have a celebration assembly. And I think it was a Friday morning. And if you achieved something in the week, you got to go and stand at the front in assembly. Now, bearing in mind, this was an infant and junior school. And I would probably say there were 7 classes of around 40 children. Yes, there were huge classes back then. And there were 2 years where they had 80 in the year. So we're probably talking, my maths isn't great here, 250, 260 kids. And all in assembly, and the teachers. And who was the first to put up their hand when they'd got an achievement? Me. I wanted to stand at the front and get that applause. I enjoyed it. There wasn't anyone booing in the audience. It was great. So think of it as your celebration, your assembly celebration, and you get to think about when you achieved that swimming your first 100 meters, or ran your first 100 meters, or ran a park run, or ran a charity race where you got a medal at the end. That's the celebrations we should be doing in business as well. So don't be afraid to blow your own trumpet. Let's talk about collaborations, my tip 5. Now, you may know that I'm in a collaboration I've formed with the lovely Karen Heap, Dawn Owen and Sharon Luca. Karen invited the 3 of us to form a collaboration. We ran an event and we formed a business off the back of it. And so many collaborations have been formed through Woman Who, people that have met at my awards, people that have met at my events, and they get together, they get to know each other, they build relationships, and they form collaboration. They put on events together, they put on retreats together, they set up business together, they work for each other. It's amazing. So teaming up with others, either in your industry, it's not competition, it's collaboration. Collaboration is far more powerful than competition. So partner up with other women in business. Or if you're a male listening to this, partner up with somebody else as well. Anyone can partner with anybody. It's not all about competition. It's not about alienating people or trying to be bigger or trying to be better. People have said, well, why are 4 women in business networks teaming up? It's the power of the collective. It's the power of coming together. We've each got different ways of doing things. We've each got not only shared audiences, but we've got different audiences. We each produce different things. We're all complementary. Yes, we overlap in places. Yes, we all run events. Yes, we all run networks, but we do them differently. Coming back to that story, I am unique, and so are they. We all speak in a different brand voice. And I don't want to be them and they don't want to be me. And that's absolutely fine. But together, we're a powerhouse and we love it and we have fun doing it. And I'll come on to fun later. So collaborations are great. And it elevates each other's brands and it grows each other's audiences as well. So sometimes it does take being in a team to actually level up and coming together with others. And I've done something, somebody set me a challenge this week actually, and I've taken them up on it. And they said, write down 100 people you could collaborate with. So I am building my 100 collaboration list. And if you want to be on it, let me know, because I'm looking to collaborate with so many people over the next 12 months. So whether that's a one-off event, whether that's putting on something together, whether that's speaking in each other's memberships, whether that's just going to events together or being in each other's aura or remit, it's a collaboration. So I'm looking and my list is growing daily. I see something on social media, I think I'd like to collaborate with her or him. I've seen a couple of guys I'd like to collaborate with as well. So don't ever rule out anyone, and think big, then think bigger, because if you don't ask, what's the worst that can happen? They say no, that's fine, move on, cross them off your list and replace them with somebody else. But those collaborations are amazing. So yeah, watch this space for my 100 collaborations. Number 6, leverage social media with purpose. And I've talked about showcasing you and showcasing your stories, showcasing your celebrations and achievements. But don't just talk about your product or service. Share value, share insights, share content, thought leadership, share your opinions, share your highs, share your lows. Have a purpose behind it. What is your purpose? What do you stand for? Who are you? What do you believe in? What are you passionate about? And they're all things that you can talk about. So it's not just going on there saying, buy my stuff. And I do that. We all do that. We have to. We're not in business just for the sake of being in business. We need to make an income. We need to sell our products and services. But share that value, be relatable, and let your personality come through. And you'll see that I share lots of different photos of me. That's not me being vain. That's me showing you that I have a fun side, that I'm showing me in a different light. They might be themed. And people say, oh, I like your hat, or I like your coat, or recently, oh, the dog's got a matching coat. He's in red as well. And it's just those little anecdotes, but people engage and they like it. And I get so many messages from people saying, love your pics, love this, or love what you were saying, totally resonate with that. I'm with you. It's building up those people who want to be in your space. So think about leveraging your social media and your purpose, and be you. And I think that's the key. We've all been and bought the latest fashionable thing that's around at the time. I don't anymore. I wear what I feel good in and what makes me feel good. But, you know, when something used to come out, I remember nagging my mum, I'm showing my age here. I used to say, I want that top from Chelsea Girl. I've got to have it. All my friends have got it. And we'd turn up all looking like clones. I wasn't being myself. I wasn't being unique. I didn't care whether it suited me. I didn't care what I looked like in it. I just wanted to be in the gang. But actually, we just all looked the same and there was no uniqueness about any of us. And when one person dyed their hair, we all dyed our hair. It was ridiculous, really, when I look back. So, yeah, don't be the same as everybody else. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean to say you have to. Find your own style and rock it out with confidence. It's an amazing thing to do. 7, be bold, be brave, and be visible. You know, I'm all about visibility. It's my big thing. I believe that by being visible and growing your brand, getting your brand out there, getting your brand personality, your brand voice out there, building up a reputation. Remember, reputation, it takes a lifetime to build and seconds to destroy. Reputation, as I say, we'll come on to in a second, but be visible. Don't wait for perfection. Done is good enough. Put yourself out there. I've given you some tips on how to put yourself out there. And if you keep trying to be perfect, it'll be your biggest enemy. You'll never progress. You'll never move forward. So just think about taking the risk and just doing it. Obviously, bearing in mind that you wouldn't share anything that you wouldn't want to see on the front page of a newspaper. But saying that, it's like going out there and be bold. Sometimes we test something out in the market. Sometimes we put a product out there or a service out there and it flops. I've done it. Loads of people have. It doesn't really take off. Betamax was one of those horrible things that I never bought into, but it never took off. There's so many other things that never took off that have come out. They've just flopped. I think on social media, we had that awful, not Threads, the other one that came out. I can't even remember what it was called now. It was a conversation thing that everybody went on. It was the next big thing. You had to wait to be invited, and then you all went on, and then it just burnt out within very short space of time. So you've got to be careful. You've got to take risks and accept the fact when you put something out there, trying to be visible, if it doesn't work, nobody engage. Don't worry about it. Because here's an interesting fact. There are so many lurkers in your audience, and you'll see me talk about lurkers, and maybe you're one of my lurkers, and thank you for being around me. Lurkers sit in your audience, and you'll see me put the little eyes symbol, the little eyes emoji. So many people have bought from me who I've never heard of. I've never seen their content. I've never come into their remit, but they've bought from me and said something like, I've been following you for the last couple of years. I've resonated with what you say. I love your content. I love your visibility. I love the authentic you. And I'm not bragging here. I'm just telling you comments I've had from other people. Isn't that interesting? We put ourselves out there. We think nobody is listening, but so many people are listening and watching. It's absolutely amazed me over the last 12 months how many times somebody has done that, has bought something from me. And I always ask people, where did you hear about me? And they say, oh, well, you're everywhere. No, I'm not. I'm not physically everywhere. I don't engage on social media every day. I don't attend every event. But what I do is I work on my visibility. And I'll do an episode just on visibility because I've got some amazing content for you as well. But yeah, being visible is about all sorts of things. And I've got a visibility strategy. And if you want to know more about that, just get in touch because I can help you build one too. Being visible is about putting yourself out there strategically so that you can measure your results. And there's no point just being sporadic about your visibility. It has to be with thought, there has to be a process, and there has to be a strategy. Otherwise, you just end up spending money and it's sporadic and you can't measure your return on investment. So it's about being bold, it's about being brave, it's about being visible, it's about putting yourself out there, but it's about measuring it as well and doing what works for you. And that's really important, doing what works for you and not everybody else. Let's come on to your reputation, tip 8. I read this recently. It said reputation is like skincare. You have to nurture it. And it's true. We put our lotions and potions on our face and our body. We look after it. We want to nurture it. We want to make sure our skin lasts forever. We're all fighting off the wrinkles and everything else that comes along with getting older. But reputation is earned over time. So you need to show up. And I hear a lot of people talking about integrity, and it's so true. We need to show up with integrity in every interaction we have. We need to be our genuine selves. We need to think about others and the people we're affecting and the people we come into contact with. We need to hold space for them. So small actions, kindness, listening, those little things all come into reputation. It's not just about going out and shouting, hey, I'm here, listen to me. It's about listening to others as well. And I really do. Some days I just scroll social media for an hour and just listen to what everybody else is saying. I've held my masterminds, I've held my monthly Zooms, my Elevate monthly Zooms in my academy, and I hold space for people. We have the opportunity for people to share exactly how they're feeling, their challenges, what they're struggling with, and we listen and we feed back and we support them and we suggest things that can help them. So, and that in itself, if you're a helpful person, you're building a great reputation. And I come back to the skincare thing. We give our skin, it needs constant care and attention. And that's what our reputation needs. It needs constant care and attention so that we can glow, so that we can be there just like our face glows when we've given it a great moisturize. We have to do that with our reputation as well. We have to make it glow. It doesn't have to be super amazing. A reputation builds itself over time. You don't have to go out there and build it. You can do PR and all sorts. That comes along with your visibility strategy. But your reputation is what people say about you when you're not in the room. What are they talking about? I'm not just on about people who are jealous, having a good old backstab. That's fine. That goes water over my head. Is that the expression? It just goes over my head anyway. But I do listen to feedback. If somebody says, oh, I'm a bit disappointed you didn't do X, then I'll try and rectify that the next time I do it. When I put on my events, my Solopreneur Awards, my Woman Who Achieves Awards, after every event, we have a debrief. After every single event, I look for what's good. I look for what's bad. I look for what I can improve. What went really well? What didn't go quite so well? What can I do better next time? And I improve on it. I want to give people a great experience. That's my reputation of giving a great day. People say they come to my events because it's a great day. I want people to have a good time. It's not about me having a good time. It's about them. They're the ones that have paid the money to be there. Tip 9, humour and fun. I'd say fun is one of my values. I like to see the funny side or the humorous side of everything, every setback. I don't laugh at people's disadvantage. That's not me. What I do is I'm prepared to laugh at myself. Yes, when I fell over in the shower, getting out the shower and did the splits, it was unintentional, but I made it into a fun thing. I've ticked it off my list. I no longer have to do 6 weeks work to be able to do the splits because I've done it in one. Painfully, I might add, and unintentionally, but I did it and I saw the funny side of it. So don't be afraid to put humour into your branding. And the key example of this is my blooper video. If you haven't seen it, I'll pop a link in the show notes. My blooper video, I love it more than I love the actual video I went to record. So I went to have a video done, and it was to go on a new website. And it was basically an intro to what I do and how I can help my audience. But to give them when you go on the About Me page, I wanted to do an intro video that would sit there. And I got the video back and it's great. The videographer did a great job. I just wasn't in the zone and I made a huge mistake. I did the cardinal sin that I advise my clients never to do. I scripted it. I should never have done it. I should have had my bullet points like I always do, or should have just spoken from the heart, which I didn't. I did speak from the heart, but it was pre-written. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but I can't memorize sentences. I believe that if you memorize something and script it, if you miss out one thing, it throws you and it sends you off down a different trail. And then you know you've missed it. You can't backtrack it. It's very hard to do. And I had specific points I wanted to get across. So I decided to script it. Huge mistake, because I've never had so many outtakes on a video. I can speak on a live, no problem. I can speak to video, no problem. I can come on this podcast, speak, no problem, with no script. I can go on my radio show with a playlist and I can talk through it and no script. I don't need it. I can ad lib. I can speak from the heart. I can speak from the head. I can speak from my stomach. I don't need that. But with my blooper video, well, my video that I recorded, there were a lot of bloopers. In fact, there were more bloopers than there were actual video. And I looked back at the video and I thought, yeah, it's fine. I'll just go with it. But when I got my bloopers, I've decided to put the blooper video on my new website because I love it. I laugh every time I see it. It's the real me. It's just me it's a funny side of me, and I don't mind people having a laugh at my expense. So I'm going to put that, I'm branded up. There's laughter, there's fun, there's frustration, and people will see I don't always get it right. Now, I'm a speaker mentor and I teach people how to speak on stages. I can do it at the drop of a hat. I was sitting in an audience and somebody said to me, or the audience, oh, the speaker hasn't turned up, we need someone to infill. I'd be the one with my hand up saying, how long would you like me to speak and what topic? And I would just go up there and do it without any notes, without any prep, without any slides, nothing. I could just deliver it. But this video really shows that I should not have scripted. So I made it into a fun thing. I made my audience smile. I've had lots of engagement on it. And it does show that we don't always get it right. And I'm not Mrs. Perfect. And I think that's good to do. And my final tip for today is learn to say no. Have you ever heard the saying, no is a full sentence? Own it. Not every opportunity that comes your way is the right fit. And when you're thinking about your brand and your reputation, it's very important to do your research. It's important to look at the people that want to collaborate with you. It's important to see where the opportunity is if you've been invited to speak. If you're offered, how often do we see these nominations come through for awards and then you go and dig deep and there are no awards? Look at every opportunity, but do your research. Because if you align with things that aren't credible, if you align yourself with things that maybe don't resonate with your audience, if you align with things that go against your values, you can actually damage your brand and your reputation. It's so hard to build it back up again. So practice saying no. One of my favorite sentences when I go back and don't have time to do the research is, can I come back to you on that? What it means for me is I need to go and do my research. The other thing is, don't be pressured. If somebody comes to you and say, I need to know within the next hour, or I need to know within 24 hours, again, don't feel pressured. And if I decide not to do something, but I'm still unsure, I might say, no, not right now, but please come back to me in the future. And that's a great stalling tactic and allows you to have a look. Somebody sort of asked me to sponsor an event, for example. I'd want to go to that event first and have a look at it. And I've done that. I've been to a people's event, sat in the audience, think, this aligns with my values. This is my audience. I really want to get involved with this, and I'll sponsor it. But there's things that you look at and you do think about whether something will damage your brand or reputation. So learn to say no. If you really struggle saying no, practice saying no in the mirror, practice saying no to somebody, practice saying no to the family, say no to your children. But no is a full sentence, and say it with confidence, because actually, if we say yes to everything, we're going to burn ourselves out. And there's always that risk that we could damage that brand or reputation. So I hope by sharing some of these tips, they will help you to elevate your brand, grow your reputation and make it glow. And I'd be really interested to hear your perspective. And if you've got any other tips that you'd like to share, just get in touch and I'll be back next week with another episode of Woman Who Chat. Thank you for listening to the Woman Who Chat podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Join me next week for more inspiration, learning and top tips. In the meantime, visit womanwho.co.uk to find out how you can start your Woman Who journey or even feature on a future podcast. You can also join the Woman Who Achieves community on Facebook. The link is in the show notes. There, you'll get the opportunity to network, find support and make new connections with over 1,000 women in business. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss next week's podcast. And if there are any topics you would like to hear, just get in touch with me, your host, Sandra Garlick.